Welcome back to Canhammer, everybody, your source for Shadespire from the Great White North. Today's episode, unboxing and review of Magore's Fiends. Welcome back to Canhammer, everybody, your source for Shadespire from the Great White North. Today I'll unbox and have a look at all the cards and models from the new warband for Shadespire, Magore's Fiends. I've been pretty busy lately, so I haven't gotten around to it till now, but better late than never, as they say. I'm not particularly a big fan of Khorne, and although I like the fact that there's a big dog in this warband, I'm probably not going to end up playing these guys, and I hate painting red with gold like that. Probably why I don't have any Blood Angels. But these guys look really cool, and definitely there's some cool cards in their set, so we're going to break it open and have a look at these guys. So, as usual, so these guys are red, as one would expect. High quality models. I don't think I have to keep going on and on about such high quality models all the time. And let's just have a look at the dog. So here's that Khorne dog there. Pretty sweet. So instructions right here. Alright, so we're going to pop these guys together and come right back. Alright, just a caution here on this one model here. So you see this model has a kind of a skull here. He's holding onto a skull. And like his hand is here, but his arm is missing as part of another piece. Pretty crazy design. Anyway, that's missing half the jawbone. And that half of the jawbone, you see on this piece, there's the arm. See if I can get this in focus. And then back of the hand and the right half of the jawbone is on there. And there's an attachment to the sprue there. I almost cut that jawbone off by accident, because that kind of looks like a bit of like sprue there. So just be careful about that. Don't chop that jawbone off. Alright, models are done. These guys took about 7 minutes. Very easy to do. There's actually a hole in this guy's belly. Pretty sweet. Pretty awesome. Lots of skulls for the Khorne, skulls for the blood god on the bases and stuff. Very cool. And the dog. Dog was very cool. The head came in 2 pieces and then slotted in like diagonally with some diagonal pegs. Pretty cool. The feet are actually part of the base, and so eventually I'll glue that after I finish painting it, but I like to paint the bases separate for Shadespire because the bases are so detailed. So that's it. We're going to have a look at the cards. Alright, first thing we'll look at are the player cards. So these guys all inspire if they make a successful attack action, which is naturally something that Khorne wants to do. So Magore, he's the leader. He has a cleave attack that's 2 hammers, 2 damage, pretty standard. And he only moves 3, has a defense shield, and 4 health. When he inspires, he goes up to 3 damage and can move 4. So not too bad. Kind of a hefty guy with a middle of the road attack with auto cleaves. That's pretty good. Rip 2, so this is the dog. The dog has 4 moves, so the dog moves more than the others. Has a dodge instead of a defense, 3 swords and 2 damage. And he has claws and teeth. If you roll at least 1 crit, then he gains cleave. And the fighter cannot have upgrades which are attack actions. So no shade glass stuff on him. He has to attack natively. And when he inspires, he goes to 3 damage on his claws and teeth and can move 5 and has 2 dodge. So nice little doggy. Gartok Flay Skull has an axe and a fist, and the axe is pretty standard, the fist is pretty weak, moves 3, 1 defense. And he has a reaction during an attack action that targets this fighter and fails. You can make an attack action with this dude and you cannot drive this fighter back. So that's pretty sweet, a free attack action. And Zarkus the Bloodsighted. So he has a standard axe attack and a fist attack like the other guy. And yeah, and he has the same reaction ability with the Gore Fist. Okay, so the 2 guys with fists have the same reaction ability. And these guys, when they inspire, they go up to 3 hammers, 2 damage with a knockback on Zarkus and the Gore Fist. And yeah, so I guess there's no real Dango Bro here, it seems, although maybe these two guys are a little bit weaker, but they have their own thing. So really, it's a good warband of 4 guys. No real Dango Bros. The dog has some interesting abilities. Let's see what we're looking at here. So we're talking objective cards for Khorne anyway. Bloody Annihilation if you take everybody out. So there's an extra way of Khorne winning more. All the better to slay them. Score immediately if all friendly fighters are adjacent to a different enemy fighter. Okay. At least 3. Bane of Champions. Score this immediately if Riptooth takes the leader out. Score this immediately if your warband takes 2 or more fighters out in a phase. Kill again. Score this in an end phase if at least 2 fighters from each warband are out of action. No escape. Score this immediately if 3 or more of your fighters charge. So that's like the Orc one. Rivers of Blood. Score this in an end phase if surviving fighters, at least 4, so all of them actually, are wounded. Saved by scored in an end phase if an enemy leader is the only surviving enemy fighter. Score this immediately if your leader takes an enemy fighter out of action. Alright, there's about 3 or 4 score immediately cards in there, very different from the Farstrider deck. Let's have a look at some of these generics. Accept Inevitability, Mr. Anderson. Score in third end phase if all your fighters are out of action. Well, that's losing. Score this in end phase if a surviving fighter has 3 or more upgrades. Score this immediately if a friendly fighter's attack action succeeds when their target has 2 or more supporting fighters. Score this in an end phase if at least 1 fighter was taken out of action in the preceding action phase in enemy territory, in your territory, and in no one's territory. Well, that's extremely hard to do. Massive Assault. Score this immediately if your fighters deal 7 or more damage in an action phase. Damage in excess of fighter's wounds characteristic is included. Oh, that might be easy to do for some factions. Score this immediately if an enemy fighter is taken out of action by an attack action made as a reaction by your warband or a reaction made by your warband that causes damage. Score this in an end phase if your warband dealt damage to 3 or more enemy fighters, multiple fronts. Poised to strike. Score this in an end phase if at least 3 friendly fighters are adjacent to the same enemy fighter. Pure Carnage. Score this in third end phase if 7 or more fighters are out of action. Score this in end phase if you score 3 or more objective cards in this round. That's not a bad card. That might be going into some of my decks. War of Attrition. Score this in an end phase if the same number of fighters, at least 1 from each warband, are out of action. Okay, not too bad. Let's go on to Khorne Ploys. Reaction. Play this Blood Frenzy. Play this after an attack action that takes a fighter out of action. Roll 1 extra attack dice for the first attack action and the next activation. Both symbols are successes. That's pretty sweet. That's a guaranteed hit almost probably. Blood Slick Ground. In the next activation, enemy fighters have -2 move. Nice. Bloody Retribution. Play this after an attack action that takes a friendly fighter out of action. A friendly fighter adjacent to the attacker makes an attack action. Continue to slaughter. Plays after an attack action or ploy that takes a fighter out of action. The first action in the next damage is +1 damage. The first friendly fighter who suffers any amount of damage in the next activation only suffers 1 damage. I like that card. Fountain of Gore. Reaction. Play this after an attack action or ploy that takes a fighter out of action. All fighters have +1 defense. Choose a friendly fighter, they become inspired. So they have their own inspiration, and there was the other one in the Farstrider set, so that's pretty decent. Glory to Khorne. Roll an extra attack dice for the first attack action made by the friendly fighter. Horrifying Howl. Choose an enemy fighter that is adjacent to a friendly fighter and push them 2 hexes. Pretty good. And Victor the Spoils. Play this after a friendly fighter's attack action that takes an enemy fighter with a wounds characteristic of 3 or more out. Draw 3 power cards. I like that too. Second Wind. Choose a friendly fighter that made a charge action. In the next activation, they can be activated as if they had moved rather than charged. Okay, so you can activate somebody that charged. I really like that. Flickering Step. Roll 8 dice. Choose a friendly fighter and push them up to a number of hexes equal to the number of crits rolled. That could be very strong, but it depends on crits you roll, and you're going to have to borrow your opponent's dice. But that's an interesting one. Grapple. Play this after an adjacent enemy fighter makes an attack action that drives a friendly fighter back. Push the attacker into the hex that the friendly fighter was driven back from. Invisible walls. All fighters' move characteristics reduced by 1. Mischievous spirits. Taking in turns with your opponent. Start with you and going clockwise. Move each objective 1 hex. Objectives cannot be moved under hexes already contain an objective. Funny. My turn. Play this after an attack action or ploy that damages a friendly fighter. Push them up to 1 hex and make an attack action. That is nice. But it's after attack action or ploy. Tainted Vitality. Remove 1 wound from each fighter who has at least 1 wound token. Hidden Pass. So I really like this one. Choose a friendly fighter hasn't made a move action and is on an edge hex. Place them on any other edge hex considered to have made a move. I think this is a super, super awesome card. You have to set it up a little bit, but then you can, boom, be anywhere on the board, basically. Really awesome. Reflected Injury. Choose a friendly fighter with at least 1 wound token and an adjacent enemy fighter. The enemy fighter suffers 1 damage. Teamwork. Play this card during a friendly fighter's attack action. Before rolling any dice, push another friendly fighter 1 hex. Lots of pushing and movement, it seems, in that deck there. Let's go through some Khorne upgrades. Brutal Charge. This is on any of the 3 dudes. Roll an extra attack dice when this fighter makes a charge. Pretty good. Furious Charge. When they make a charge, all those symbols are successes. And this on Zarkus. Any 3 can have this no respite reaction during an attack action or ploy that would take this fighter out of action. You can make an attack. So there's a lot of those because they have that as part of their Gorefist upgrade. Anyway, Predatory Leap for Rip Tooth. When this fighter makes a charge action, they can move through other fighters but must end in an empty hex. Rage Field attacks for Zarkus. This fighter attack range with +1 have +1 damage. Shake About with Rip Tooth. This fighter's successful attack action with range of 1 pushes the target 1 hex instead of driving them back. Sweet. Trophy Hunter. When this fighter takes an enemy fighter out of action, gain 1 additional glory point. So that's like Blood Slicked on Garrick. That is really good. Makes something you're doing anyway. Gave you an extra glory every time. Unshakable. Reaction. During an attack action that could drive this fighter back. Whether your opponent chooses to do so or not, you can push them on hex, and that's for the dog. That's really nice. How much health does the dog? 4 health. So pretty good. I like the dog. Wrathful Blows. All this fighter's attack action have +1 dice. That's nice. Some nice upgrades there. Tethered Spirit. Reaction during an attack action or deploy that takes this fighter out of action 50% of the time. You ignore the damage, and so that's like another Soul Trap. War Cry. When this fighter makes a charge action against knockback 1, -2 move and +2 wounds. Unparalleled Strike. Rolls of hammer and crit are considered to be crits for this action, but you only have 1 hammer. It's not that good. All right. So Formless Key is the key that gives you a glory point at the end of the game if you're holding any objective, so I like that. Here's the last of the Cataphrane relics, the gloves. So now if you have all 6 relics, you get 4 glory points, as well as all these other things. So let's just have a look at this for a second, because right now, literally today, GW has published beta rules for Shadespire because relic decks were too strong. And the beta rules are that it costs you 2 glory now to play a relic upgrade. And that's it. So make it a lot harder for you to get all 6 on. So with 2 relics, during an attack action, you get to reroll defense dice. 3 relics, during an attack action, you reroll the attack dice. 4 relics, you get to draw 2 power cards after every fighter action, which is super awesome. And then 4 glory points with 6 relics. So that's just really good. Yeah, and so those are all reactions, and then that's an action to gain 4 glory points. And I guess it just says action gain 4 glory points. You could do this over and over again. So yeah, there we go. That's basically the game. Trusted Defender. Reroll 1 defense dice for this fighter when they're the target of an attack. Dark Darts are like Shade Glass Darts, but with Cleave. Interesting. Shade Glass Dagger is 3 swords with 3 damage and a +1 damage on a crit. That is nice. Ghost Blade. So this is a 2 hammer, 1 damage. Only rolls of crit are successes for this attack action. And this attack action can never cause more than 1 damage to a target. Oh, when rolling defense dice, only rolls of... Oh, okay, so your defender needs crits to save it no matter what. But it can only ever do 1 damage, so no biggie. It's not good. Demonic Maw for Magore. Oh, that snuck in there somewhere. So Demonic Maw for Magore gives him a 3 damage attack, and it heals you when you do that. Okay, back to the generics. Sorry about that, snuck in there. Unparalleled Strike. Hammers are considered to be crits, and is 1 hammer for 2 damage. Okay, well, that is Magore's warband. It's okay. It's medium strength, I think. There's really only one way to play them. You inspire by attacking, and so that's just playing like Khorne and going full-on attack. I think they'll do okay like that, but there's going to be some counters to that. So overall, not too bad. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please click on the like button below. Consider subscribing to our channel, and consider supporting us on Patreon. Thanks very much, and we'll see you next time.